Welcome to my latest video. Time to meet the players. I thought I would make this video to give you some context for my earlier videos, before I had PowerDirector, my video editor. The names have been left out to protect the guilty. In the Pink Chainsaw Massacre, you can't see anything as I was trying to record, cut a branch, and hold on for my dear life while sitting in my kayak on the river. A girl and her chainsaw. U-Haul Sigh is when I had to clean out my mom and brother's apartment after my mom passed away and my brother a year and a half before her. I had to rent a U-Haul truck, and on my way to fill it up, a snowy owl flew out of the ditch into the truck, leaving only a splat, which you can see in the picture. The next shot is my storage locker when I was done. In Mercury retrograde versus me, the first picture was one I used on my Facebook post, which pretty much describes how I go through life, followed by a picture of my poor beleaguered baby toe that lost against the bed, and which I've broken several times. Tenacious Al Does Mexico was about my month in Mexico after cleaning out the apartment, where I ended up buying the trailer that I lived in all winter. First is the Sweat Lodge, followed by the whale watching tour where we didn't see any whales, and finally the kayak where I made my spectacular entrance onto the beach in full view of all the restaurant patrons. Keeping with my month in Mexico, the next video is Carnival. First up is the Carnival sign, then it's me in my costume, complete with wings of course, and then the George Lopez look-alike. I mean, look at this guy. He looks just like him. The next video is Hangman, still one of my favorite stories. That was a crazy night, looking like a CSI crime scene with a few fire trucks, an ambulance, about 5 cop cars, and police walking around our house with flashlights. In Gravity, that nasty bitch, you probably figured out by now that I love roller skating and that I'm very accident prone. Luckily, not at the same time. There's me lacing up the skates about to hit the rink. Dust If You Must was when I worked at the old pub and was cleaning down in the creepy basement. I mentioned this poem called Dust If You Must by Rose Milligan. If you read the last 2 lines, you'll see that they are apropos to my story. Bear Shit was about living amongst the bears at the lodge and the dumpsters behind my cabin. That scar on one of the dumpsters. After that are a few pictures inside the cabin where the bat came in to visit. The cabin was so cute. There's the door looking over at the restaurant. Then the next few are doing a panorama around the room. The fridge and pictures of my son, bed and closet, and the wall I called When I Used to Be Interesting with my degree, diplomas, certificates, and karate trophies. And there's the bathroom and shower where I finally caught the bat. In procrastination, I mentioned a Spanish phrase I learned, ahora tengo tortícolis en el cuello, meaning, now I have a kink in my neck, realizing that I could have used it that day after painting a bunch of the ceilings in the lodge rooms. The Princess and the Seeds, that's when I discovered that I had a roommate in my winterized cabin. And there's the bed, the scene of the crime. Sammy in the House is a continuation of the last video where I was finding seed caches all over the cabin. There he is, my little red squirrel roommate. What a maniac. He was very territorial. In The Visitor, I mentioned that my clothes rack detonated, leading me to find the mother lode of spent shells underneath it. Then I heard something banging around in my bedroom and discovered I had a visitor, a flying squirrel. Look at him. Isn't he cute? Look at those big black eyes, eating a strawberry. In technology, I was talking about my effects on electronics, including the new Bluetooth headphones I'd purchased. These are a few pictures of the winterized cabin to give distance perspective. Trouble was about my cat, the Huntress, with the perfect camouflage. She's much older in this picture, wearing a sweater my ex-mother-in-law made for her. Roderick was about my mom's dog, the Bull Terrier, who I used to take out for walks, and who gave me that little surprise at the crosswalk. Thanksgiving was pretty crazy. Unfortunately, like the other stories, I had to chop it down to 3 minutes, leaving out a lot of the details. There's my parents with our '69 Mach 1 Mustang. And here's the lodge's dining room, where we used all the candles my dad had made for me over the years. Then the kitchen that got hosed down by the fire extinguisher, hence the towels all over the floor. The canoe trip, or the time we almost drowned, was when I started the misadventures of Big T and Little Me. There's the notorious canoe, and right through those reeds is where that hidden pond was. Very magical. Niagara-on-the-Lake was where I played hooky when I should have been doing teardown, and we went down to the hotel that T's friends were managing, which had the lounge that looked like Elvis's Jungle Room and was $2,000 a night. 'Twas the night before Christmas was when I had that epic Christmas Eve family dinner. Now, the only picture I could find of Crockett was taken several years later. About a year after the dinner, he disappeared for a couple of years, only to show up with his face half torn open. We think that when the neighbors on the next street took him and dumped him out in the country. Poor baby. Happy New Year was my thank you video to all my subscribers and the people who watch the videos. There's the grandkids and me from a few years ago, the twins with their baby sister getting in on the action during our annual pumpkin carving. And that's their crazy mother. This was the next year, with one of the dogs, both King Corsos. And there's my awesome tea towel. Not to brag, but I don't need alcohol to make really bad decisions. And wrapping up the Big T and Little Me series is French River, The Beginning of the End, Part 1. There's Big T making a fire by the cabin. Notice the stoop where I did the flip off of it. And there's the dock where I hobbled to the end to stick my foot in the freezing water to bring the swelling down while being watched by 3 fishermen. The docking incident, or the many levels of shame, the epic fail video, finishes off the French River story. There's the cliff that I scaled with my sprained ankle, and the far dock is where I made my entrance into the water. Here's the Crazy Cat Lady video. There's Natalie, then Dave, and there's Bernadette. That was my son's room, which my brother painted. And there it is, the kitty mosh pit. There's Bernie on the right, Natalie on the left, and squished beside her on his back, with one of the kittens in a headlock, is a mirror. And a plethora of kittens. It was insane. The next picture after this is one of the kittens. I think you can see her near the bottom of the box. She was so ugly that she was cute. The picture is out of focus, but that's probably a good thing. There she is. Oh my goodness. And there's Buffy, the ringleader, taken a few years later, and taking after her mother Bernie in the sleep department. And there she is again in the notorious Christmas tree, which she was helping me to take down. The cat ate my homework, aka Natalie. This was her origin story when I first got her in Toronto, before the kittens. There's Jimmy Rabbit and Natalie, named after 2 characters from my favorite movie, The Commitments. There's Jimmy giving me that look like, why are you doing this to me? And there's my Natalie. She was a crazy one. Well, we're almost at the end. Here's O Canada, Sigh, Part 1, about my return from the Turks and Caicos to Canada in the middle of winter. Here's me walking through the beautiful turquoise waters of North Caicos, then dragging a kayak through the shallow waters by Bottleneck Creek. And that was my Facebook post as we waited to board our plane home. And there it is, the midlife crisis mobile. And finally, O Canada, Sigh, Part 2. There's Freddie. She's eventually going to have her own video, complete with turtle cam. If you'd like to watch any of the actual videos, I'll put links in the description, or just go on to my YouTube channel under Shorts to find all the featured videos. Thanks for watching.